Welcome to Cardano FX, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Carlos Lara, and today we're going to use Autodesk Maya. And the goal of this is that I want you to know how you can use Maya, actually the main features of Maya, in something like I like to call mini training course. Okay, so the point is that we're probably gonna have 10 to 12 videos, and I'm gonna try to teach you how to use the interface, how to navigate inside the 3D world, how you can create models and animations and things like that. But I mean, it's just the main core of the application. Obviously, if you get the idea and then you find that you really want to use Maya and you actually want to learn this application, we have also some other training courses inside in our website. And but I mean, this is just I don't want to make any kind of commercial or anything like that, but it's just something that I do. And if you like the way we explain and things like that, well, you're more than welcome to come to our website. So let's get started. The first thing is that we have this kind of a window. As you can see, it says Essential Skills Movies. And now with this window, what you can do is click on one of these buttons, and then it's going to take you to you can actually see a video of how you can manipulate, in this case, move, rotate, and scale, things like that. But you know what, I don't think you're really going to need these movies, because if you're watching these videos, I think you're going to get more information from us than from this little video. So what you can do is actually just close this window, and then if you want it back, all you have to do is go to help here in this menu, and you can click on learning movies. All right, and that way you can get it back. Now you can actually click on this option, which that says do not show that at the start menu, at startup, and that will close it. And I mean, that way you don't have to worry about clicking every single time. Now this is the main interface of Autodesk Maya, and probably doesn't look like yours, but don't worry, this is just because I'm changing the shape of this application in order to make it fit into the space that I have for this recording. So it's like a little, I have less space than probably the space that you have, but don't worry, if you don't see something here, I will move my interface and I will let you know when I am moving and why I am moving it. So the first thing is that we need to know that here we have something that we call the main menu. And almost every single application have a main menu where you can actually take advantage of every single command. Come here and specify what you want to do and just click, and that way you can access to that specific option. For example, if you go to file, you can have a new scene. You can create a new file, a new scene, which is like a new project. You can call it like that, but still I don't want you to think that this is a project, because when you work in Maya you need to specify a project, and a project can involve a lot of different scenes. All right, but just to make things simple right now, you can say that this is going to allow you to create a new file, a new option where you can come and create. All right, so after that you can obviously save your scene, you can change the name of your scene, you can save it with a different name, etc, etc. So every single parameter, or some of the main parameters inside Maya, you're going to find them right here. Now, this is not only where everything is located. Obviously, we have something, a lot of different buttons and different type of panels that we can use in order to call commands. The next option that I want to show you is this one right here, where you can click and see different type of names. As you can see right now, I can see animation, polygons, surfaces, dynamics, rendering, etc, etc. So the thing here is that if I change from polygons to animation, you're going to see that all this main menu is changing now, and now I have access to different options. If I'm working with polygons, for example, I go and I can select here mesh, and I can combine my polygons. But if I want, I can come and change that to animation, and now I have animation, geometry, and cache, create deformers. So a lot of different commands, new menus when you change or switch this little option. So surfaces, you change, you have a new main menu. Rendering, you have a new main menu, etc, etc. Now, some other things, like for example in this bar where you can see these little icons, you have some of the commands that are actually inside this main menu. And obviously all the different buttons you can see inside the interface are kind of accessible right here in the main menu, but you need to come and switch sometimes for the different option in this switcher. All right. So as you can see here, we have an open one icon that represents the command open scene. So you actually can come here and click on this one, and it's going to do the same thing. Then you have save, you have this kind of graphic, and so on. As you can see, we have a lot of different options, and I mean the graphic interface is pretty cool because it almost tells you what can you do with every single tool. For example, here you can select by hierarchy, you can select by component or object type. Then you have your masking options in order to say I want to select only that specific object. So I click on these different buttons in order to get that specific behavior, and that way I can manipulate my objects with better. It's simple as that. Now the next section, what we have here is the snapping options. What these tools are going to do is that they're going to allow me to start, if I want to create something inside my viewport, I can click on this little guy, and that way I can attach a point to a specific point of this grid. Now imagine if you have another 3D object, you can actually take one point and create something that is going to be attached to that point. And when we're working in 3D, we are using a lot of points. Okay, more than anything, we use points, and then these points can connect in between, and then we have lines, and then these lines can create we can create actually with curves or lines, nerves or polygons. But the main thing is right now that you know that you have some kind of snapping tools here, and that's it. I don't want you to worry about what can you do right now, because we're going to use them, and I'm going to teach you how to use them. So the next thing is the render options. Now if you press this little guy, the first one, you're going to call this render window, and this window is actually another panel that is going to show you your images. So for example, right now I'm gonna click here on create, and then I'm gonna go and select a sphere inside the nerves primitives. I'm gonna create a sphere, then I'm gonna click drag, and as you can see, I have this kind of representation of one sphere, but I don't see the actual shape or anything like the surface. So what I will do is come to this render view, and I will click on this little guy, and now you can see another version now with color. In this case the material is gray, but you can see some shadows and highlights, things like that I don't see in my 3D viewport. And that's what we can do with the render options, and that's why it's really important, because that way you're gonna see what are you doing, right? And you obviously want to take your 3D work into an image, and probably you want a sequence of images if you want to create an animation. But all right, by now I'm just kind of going and telling you what to do with these tools, but I'm stopping in this one because this is one of the main big features of Maya, where you can actually take advantage of all these. And at the beginning probably you're gonna have to come and use them like that, but after you're gonna get access to all these by using your keyboard, and that's actually what I recommend. But don't worry, for now just let's keep moving. The next area that we have here is where we can apply our where we can specify the coordinates of our objects or our components. And let me just come here. I'm going to select and create one sphere. So for example, I have two spheres. I'm going to take actually one, and I'm going to delete that one, and I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to press 5 on my keyboard so I can see the color. And I'm going to right click, and then I'm going to select, for example, vertex. And as you can see, all the shapes, all the points here are appearing in my in this sphere. I'm going to click and drag. I don't want you to do anything, okay? I just want you to see what is going on. So I'm going to click, drag, select all these points or vertices, and then I'm going to go here, for example, to Y, and then I'm going to type 10. And now everything looks like disappear, right? But if I go and move, you can see that all my points are right here. What I actually did is I moved them 10 units to the top all right, in my Y direction. And that's something that you can do with this coordinate system that you have here. You have access to all these points or to all these coordinates, and you can manipulate components. You can manipulate your points and send them to a different direction. Okay, so that's basically what we have here. And then after that, what I have is three different buttons that are really important inside Maya. The first one allows me to show the attributes of my objects. So in this case, as you can see, I created a sphere. So let me just undo this, pressing Control Z as Zorro. So with that, you can see the sphere. I'm gonna change to that type of mode. And now what I have is the sphere, and I can see all the different parameters or attributes of this object. Actually, not all of them, but I have access to some of the main parameters of this object, and then I can come and tweak, and that will allow me to do any type of translation, rotation, or I can even change the color of my object. I can come here and change this to red probably, and you can see how everything is changing. And this is our main, one of the main boxes of this, one of the main panels that we're going to be using, the attribute editor. That's actually the proper name. Now the next one will help me with the parameters of my tools. Okay, this one, the one at my right, is going to show me parameters of my objects, and the one at my left is going to show me parameters of my tool. In this case, I'm using my selection tool, and the selection tool allows me obviously to select objects, and that's why I can see select tool, and then I can see all the different parameters of this object, of this tool, excuse me. And then if you don't want to see it anymore, you can click on this little X, and that way you will close it. All right. The same thing with this other panel. I can come and close my attribute editor by clicking on this little X, and it's gone. I can click on this one, which is my channel box. I can click and it's gone. Now, if you want to call the channel box, all you need to do is go and press the last one of these objects. Remember, I show you the attribute editor, then the tool editor, and then we have the channel box. And the channel box is kind of another way of accessing to your attributes, but you have a different kind of approach, and we will be talking about these objects during our training. But for now, just keep in mind that you can come here actually and change, for example, this one to off. If I change the visibility parameter to off, I don't see my object. And then if I change it to 1, which means 0 is off and 1 is on, I can switch back and forward, and that way I can see or not my object. All right. Now the next option that we have at my left is where I have my manipulators, my tools that I can use in order to manipulate my objects. And the first one is my selection tool. Then I have the lasso selection, where I can click and specify. I can draw actually with my mouse and specify the area that I want to select. A lot of time I hardly use these tools, but sometimes they are really, really important. But more than anything, you're going to be using the selection tool. After that, we have our manipulators, which tools that are going to let us move our objects, rotate, scale, and things like that. Then we have some other options that will show us what tool are we using right now. Then we have, after this area, here's something that you can probably see. I have this Maya logo, the Autodesk Maya logo, and if you click, you will get to the Autodesk website. All right, then I'm gonna open this. I'm gonna try to drag, and I'm just making a little bit bigger my interface so that you can see that I have more options here. If I click in the first one, you're gonna see nothing happens because that's the main window that we have. But actually, all this section, the section that is down below, all these tools, allows me to change the kind of interface that I can see. So if I click in the first one, allows me to see only one viewport. Then I can change to 4 viewports. Then I can change to my outliner and the viewport. Now the outliner is really important because actually here I can select my objects if I want to. Now we're going to talk a little bit more in our next movie about the outliner and some of the other options for navigation. But for now, just keep in mind that the outliner is another big important part of the interface. The next one is the option that is going to show you the the viewport, the regular viewport, the perspective viewport, but actually it's going to show you, also it's going to show you the graphic editor where you can come and tweak your keys for animation, and it's actually another main panel of Maya. And then if you click in the next one, you're going to call the hypershade, which is what I call the shop of my textures and shaders. So you can come here and tweak your all the different colors that you have, the materials, and then you can apply them to your objects. And we're going to be talking about probably these options in this training with a little bit more of, with any of all these different options that I'm showing you right now. But we're probably going to come and take our time and explain what can we do with them. Obviously, for example, we have one training that talks about all these type of shaders and all how we can create our own shaders and networks, and it could take probably, I don't know, 10 hours to show you all the parameters that you can use here. But in this case, we're gonna be having some kind of restrictions in time, but still you're gonna get an idea of how everything works. Okay, now let's move to our next section, and I want to talk about these two panels that I have down here. Let me change my viewport again to one window only, and this viewport, okay, where you can see the sphere is actually the main area of the interface. That's where you're going to be looking at this all the time, because all your objects are going to be placed in this area, and we're going to be placing all our objects, here in this area. Now after that, right here down below, you have what we call the timeline. And well, in different programs they call it with different names, but we're gonna refer to it as the timeline, where we can manipulate time if we have an animation. So every single number here represents a frame, and then if I go, for example, to frame 1, I know that this is the frame number 1. And imagine if you are recording a movie for film, for example, I'm sure you probably hear the 24 frames per second term, where you can actually reproduce this film of 20 frames per second, and that will give you the sensation of motion, and that's actually what is going to happen here. But for now, don't worry. I just want you to know that these areas where you can you're going to have access to this, and every single number here represents one frame. Okay, but when we talk about animation, you're going to have a basic understanding of what can we do with this. So actually, the next area, all these all these buttons, play, rewind, and stop, they were like an iPod where you can rewind, play. But right now we don't have an animation, so there's not. We don't need to come and play this, play with these buttons right now. The next section, right here, what I have is my command line, where I can come and type some kind of a script. If I click on this little guy right here in the corner, I'm gonna press, I can call my script editor. And now, as you can see, I have some kind of code here. Everything, all the movements that you do here inside Maya, they're gonna be kind of translated into this area. So for example, if I deselect, you can see that now I have this thing that says select CL. And if I want to select something, I can actually come and take something, and I can write it right here, type it in here, and then I can press play, and that will do something. In this case, I try to split my polygon. I type split polygon tool, which is something that I don't need right now. But as you can see now, I changed the kind of icon that I have in my cursor, because I'm calling that tool, and it's giving me an error because I didn't select a polygon in order to use this tool. But what I want you to know is that if you type something here, you can type a command here, and you can actually tell Maya to do something with code. Okay, and then we have our script editor, where we can see actually what I am typing right now, and you can see this section that says mel with the number 1 is actually the same thing that if I was typing right here. I can change to Python, mel, and the same thing I can change to mel or Python inside this area. And basically that's what we have in our interface. I know there's a lot of different things that are missing, but one thing that I will tell you is that you can come to window and check all these different areas or windows that you have, because they belong to the workspace. And same thing, I just want you to have an idea of what can you do with the interface. For now, that's it, and I will see you in our next movie. Please, if you like the video, if you want me to keep uploading these type of videos, all I ask is to subscribe and like it and share with your friends, etc., etc. So thank you very much. Comment, and I will see you in our next movie. Thank you very much. Bye bye for now.